Setting up your meeting. Done. Right, we are live. So I'll send that out. Just keep an eye on the chat. So right, we've got plenty to talk about, haven't we?
Plenty. Right, let me just
4:04 on a Friday.
4:15 on a Friday. Wind down. Beer o'clock.
I haven't got any beer. No, I haven't.
What are you doing?
No, I haven't got a beer.
What are you doing?
Oh, we'll give it 2 minutes and then we'll roll into the the podcast blurb, I guess. Is probably where we need to start first. And then we can start talking about what the hell we're going to do this week. So a good day, busy day.
Busy morning, not so much this afternoon. Managed to cancel a couple of calls this afternoon, which meant that I didn't have to do them, which is good. Got a long list of shit that I don't want to do. But pink gin's in. Pink gin's in.
Unbelievable. Right, well, people will start to come in. Maybe, I don't know. We're not going to be as popular as Werner and that, but we'll see. We get like 5 people.
Are you keeping an eye on the YouTube?
Yeah, keep an eye on the YouTube. So I've got the chat. So if anybody asks any questions or anybody says hello, then we can do that, which is great. And I've got everything else coming up. So shall I start off with the pod?
Yeah, start with the pod, mate.
For the pod. Right, let's get it done. Right, guys, welcome back. This is Just Above the Average FPL with CY and Baker. How are you this afternoon, Baker?
Glad it's Friday, mate. Glad it's Friday. Another week, another week down, another deadline down, another one coming tomorrow.
Another one coming tomorrow. It's a good game week, though, isn't it? No, game week 20.
Mad game week.
I'm smiling from both ears. I guess you are too, as well, actually. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that just in a minute.
Yeah.
We'll go through the normal stuff. So, follow us on Twitter. We are at Above Average FPL. Our podcasts are available on good and rubbish platforms such as Apple, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. Leave a review. 5 stars is great. 1 star is not fantastic, but leave a comment. Let us know what we're doing right and what we're doing wrong. Interact with us both on Twitter at Above Average FPL and at Baker FPL 343. We had Garth on last time round. It was a really, really good chat. Watching him, I suppose we were watching on Zoom, but listening to him talk about how he's going to attack from here 7 game weeks ahead of where he was last season, and he finished 1,800 last year. So he's sitting at 4,500. I don't know exactly how his game week went. He said he was going to have a little watch of this. So Garth, if you're in the chat already, just drop us a note. Let us know how you got on. We're just going to do a quick half hour, 45 minutes max, I think, on today. So we'll dive right in and talk about game week 20. You want to tell us how you got on, mate?
I'll go first, shall I?
Yeah,
I'll go first for your glory. Yeah, I mean, got away with it, really. I ended up with 52 points. I mean, start of the week was painful. So Tuesday night, I ummed and ahed between Son or Gundogan for my transfer. I went with Son, just wasn't comfortable not having Tottenham as a Tottenham fan. Fancied we could do okay against Liverpool. Yeah, we'll move on to Thursday later. But so then I also benched Soucek and put Soucek first on my bench. So at this point, I'm not enjoying life. I am very much not enjoying life in that I've bent Soucek, he scored twice. We've then got Gundogan
Can I just say that we talked about Zaha and it took him 3 minutes to fucking score.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And you know, benching Soucek after I've waxed lyrical about how bad Palace are from set pieces. Why would you bench him against that? Like, what was I thinking? So I fully deserve to get the pains. I was really annoyed with myself because of, you know, I should have benched Watkins really in theory if I was sticking to what I'd sort of promised myself in that if Villa have got hard at games, then maybe don't double up, you know, take some spread. But I can't help myself. It's just greedy because they link up so well. So I went in with it again. And then so at the end of the Tuesday night, horrendous because also I've got Diaz and Stones and obviously Cancelo goes off. So I'm sitting on, you know, like 12 points from those two, a 1 point Bamford and a 1 point Kufau. And I'm like, this is not good. And I'm sitting looking at not ideal. And then Wednesday, I thought I'm going to make, you know, got to half time and obviously Werner's not playing and I've got Werner. And I was going to take potentially a hit to take Werner out for Kane. I thought, well, you never know. First game, let's see how it goes under Tuchel. And so I let it go. And then I thought, I can't watch this second half. I cannot count these minutes down. It's going to happen. I'll just turn everything off, go and make dinner, put the kid to bed, and then see how it goes. And yeah, then find out that he doesn't come on. Absolute goldmine. In comes the 15 points. And then, you know, everything else was okay. It was okay, but obviously the sun move didn't work. You know, I thought that had worked obviously as well with the early goal, and then that doesn't come about. So, you know, and Grealish and Watkins did do all right for me. So saying that, you know, I did totally get lucky because if I'd played Soucek, I would have benched Grealish, benched Watkins. So cannot complain. Move on. Headaches. My plan was to move Werner to Kane this week, and now that's all a bit of a mess. So got plenty of going on. Let's talk about your week.
So I spoke last week, didn't I, about how I was going to punt on Cancelo, sitting there at 820k, thinking I need something just to push me. And you know, we talked about it. He's due, and they just got plum fixtures, and West Brom was the fixture. So I thought, well, I didn't do too badly with Trent over the double, and I felt that City were going to be less direct, and we're going to spend more time around the West Brom box. I mean, it was slightly fortunate obviously with the offside, because really that could have been given offside quite easily. But I'll take it. I mean, it just absolutely bombed, didn't he? So smashed it. 34 points from Cancelo. So that was a nice little start to the game week. And not ideal with Bamford only coming off. Literally came off on 59 minutes. Absolutely perfect. But obviously, I'm not feeling hard done by at this point. So the week went on. Bruno blanking was just huge for me. Not having him as captain, obviously, it was just praying that he blanked and for Sheffield United to win that game, and for Bruno not to be involved in the goal, was just magic. I got an assist from Bowen.
Highest ever selected captain, Bruno. Highest ever.
Mental. I mean, and rightly so. It was the fixture. It was the fixture, really. You look across FPL Twitter, for example, and you saw, almost everyone had Bruno selected. I looked down my mini leagues, just everyone had Bruno, and that was obviously representative of the effective ownership that he had. Expectations on him, and he didn't deliver, which was perfect for me. So, that leads into headaches for all of us next week, given all the premiums. Really, you're just looking at them and you're thinking, really. And then I had probably one of the worst Thursdays you could ever imagine, in that I was sitting there Thursday morning with triple Liverpool as a Tottenham fan. And then so obviously Son and Kane really would have damaged me if they'd have returned FPL wise. Son scored, and the first thing I sent into WhatsApp was "fuck FPL, who cares?" And it was like, yes.
Yeah.
And then it was given for that ridiculous offside. And as a Tottenham fan, that hurt hard. And then I actually missed the second goal. I missed the Trent goal completely. I'd gone out to get a beer, and then all I saw was your message that said, "Oh, Adam will be happy. He's got a green arrow." So Trent coming in for 14 points for my FPL team was fantastic. For Tottenham, we were an absolute shambles yesterday. Our XG was like 0.13. Didn't have a shot on goal after the 49th minute. Again, it's just horrible, horrible, horrible. But FPL wide, 69 points, way above the average. Game week rank of like 270k. So there were some decent scores out there. But I moved up almost 300k, and I'm pretty happy with how the team. I'm pretty happy with large parts of my team. That said, I've got plans for possibly a -4, maybe even a -8 as I head into this game week. Just because things like the City game was great, but and it was you that pointed it out, and I tweeted it on the account, was that I'm paying 9 million for Jesus. I thought he'd be a good chance. I never expected him to be dropped like that, especially after scoring in the FA Cup game. I know he played in the FA Cup game, but he scored. So I thought, well, he's got a bit of confidence. He'll want to play him against someone like West Brom, keep that train moving. Okay, he comes on after an hour, and then he's just standing out wide when the ball is in key areas. It's just complete waste for someone who needs goals. So it was a bit of a
unselfish, isn't he? It's just like ultimate team player, but that's not what they need. They just need to stay there. Well, that's what we're seeing with Gundogan, is that like genuinely quite selfish. You can say that's the position I'm playing at, and is fighting, in that number 9 role. Mad that he goes off, and then when Jesus comes on, doesn't try and do that same thing.
Yeah, and Pep's already confirmed that he's going to start tomorrow, right? So. So good week for me, FPL wise. Really, really good week. A couple of little tweaks I want to make. I'm really on a 4-week plan now. So because I am going to commit to wildcard in, close to 26, and I'm going to really push to do that. So the problem with that is that, as I mentioned with the premiums, now what do we do now? Because you've got KDB injured, Aubameyang shit. You've got Bruno's blanked. Salah hasn't scored in 7 games. Kane's dead. That's basically it. Vardy's dead. Is there a player over 10 million that isn't injured or just rubbish at the moment?
5 of the top 10 most expensive players in the game are injured.
Mental. I mean, Sterling's the premium, the only premium that you could see that you could feasibly pick. But then again, I mean, we've been talking before today, and neither has mentioned Sterling once. Not once. No. Madness.
Just to validate this one in, but the chat on YouTube for some reason appears to be blocked or something. It's not letting people comment.
That's weird. Very strange. Well, I'll have to fix that for next time. I mean, if you're watching, just reply to the tweet in Twitter, and I'll chuck up Twitter on. I'll chuck up Twitter next to me. So if you have any questions, just chuck them below that, or any comments or anything like that, guys. I will make sure I'm having a look at them. So yeah. I'll edit that bit out the audio when I release it. No worries. No worries.
So aggressive plans though.
Aggressive plans, yeah. Aggressive plans going forward. The captaincy is going to be I'm going to maintain aggression on that as well. It's just trying to work out what I want to do in the midfield more than anything. I'm quite comfortable with protecting a little bit of rank with Calvert-Lewin. I think Calvert-Lewin, with James back, with Digne back, and he had a couple of shots on goal, 1 on target in the game against Leicester. Easier fixture coming up against Newcastle, and better fixtures on the horizon for the next 4 weeks. So he's going to be heavily owned. People are going to start bringing him back in. I haven't looked at what his net transfers are yet, which I could do pretty much now, to be honest. So if I have a look at that, that can't be right, surely.
I don't think DCL is going to be big owned, really. Not in that top million type rankings, but you can't argue it. He's had 364,000 people move in this week. That's a big number, but that number was nowhere near that yesterday. The interesting one is obviously because Kane's out. Suddenly, you're going to have between now and tomorrow morning, I reckon there's somewhere like 500,000 people that are easy going to move from Kane. What you got to remember is that, so Kane yesterday was over 50% owned in the game. So that means there's 3.5 million people that could move him on. Now, I reckon somewhere along the lines of 1 million will move him on by this time tomorrow morning. 500,000 have already done it. Now that number last night was about 130,000. That was like a couple of hours after the game. I looked at it last night before I went to bed. He gone up 0.2 in this game week. Okay.
Everyone was prepping out the back of it, weren't they? Prepping for that Brighton game. He's down to 42.5% owned already. Mad. Down
to it already. And that will be massively more in the next few weeks, in the next few hours, let alone anything else. So there is a benefit to going to DCL this week, not only just because of the things, but you will get some pound gains. Saying that, like, I can't spend it. I genuinely can't spend the money. Is not without taking a -8, and you do have to start doing that. Is thinking of the things of pounds in the bank is actually better than minus points sometimes. Is don't just make changes for the sake of it. If you're going to make the changes because you think you will get the points off the back of it. Especially you and similar to me is most of us are thinking about wild card in like 24, 25 type time maybe. Like if you take a -8, it's got to pay back in 2 weeks, really. Otherwise, what was the point? Because is you're about to wild card out of it. You're better to just ride along. I'm in a similar boat. The thing is, at the moment, we'd all have 10 midfielders if we could have them. We'd all have, all the defenders. Saying that, I potentially, when I was going to bring in Kane, I was looking at maybe a defender move, and I was looking at defenders under 5 million. At the moment, I don't look at any defender under 5 million and want them. I think the ones that were around it are now above it. Justin dead on 5 million is your probably only good option. Everyone under 5 million, I'm like, I don't want them this weekend, and I don't want them most weekends now. The premium defenders, the over fives, they're definitely the way to go. So I think a lot of people shifting that money. It's difficult. It's difficult to work out what's the best thing to do at the moment with it. Soucek.
I've got a visit. I've got a visitor.
Oh, have you?
I've got a visitor. Right, give us a second. No, hey, it's not under there. There you go. We'll just edit that out of the pod when we get to it. Yeah, mummy. Bye-bye. Oh, joys of kids.
Yeah, you've got the Robbo Trent double. Now, I don't think their fixtures are great. Their next 3 are away to West Ham, home to Brighton. I think is a good fixture. Don't think you can argue that one. But then home to City after that. They don't double in 26 potentially. Actually, they probably do because I think they've got Chelsea, and Chelsea have got Barnsley, I think, in the FA Cup. So actually, they could well double in 26. Yeah, they will double in 26 then. But then after home to City, they're away to Leicester.
Yeah, sure. I genuinely before we chatted last week, I'd looked at a couple of transfers, and genuinely, I'd already half planned in my mind potentially to have taken Trent out last week. I'm glad it didn't, obviously. So moving them on is already in my mind. It's just a case of where to go. I want them both in for the Brighton fixture. I'll probably only want one of them max in for the City fixture.
The beauty of them though, and this is like this indirect benefit from them. One is, so they're great attacking threats. So that makes them amazing options, full stop. But previously, if you think back last season and seasons before that, there was a big man in the middle that was, yes, he makes more clean sheets in Van Dijk, but he also takes away bonus. And he's not there, so as soon as they play, potentially, so tomorrow, it looks like Matip and Fabinho are out. Well, they are definitely out. So it's probably going to be Phillips and it's going to be Henderson with him. Well, Henderson doesn't get the clean sheet, so he doesn't get the defensive bonus for it. So realistically, you can't tell me that Phillips is going to do more than those two in a game to affect bonus. So if they get a clean sheet and they get an attack in return, you get a 15-pointer, just nailed on, just like that immediately. And even if they just get a clean sheet, if it's a 1 or 2, and they're not, obviously they did score 3 against Tottenham, but they're not scoring as much as they were, they're going to get so many double figure hauls is out there. What I did think yesterday, actually, so Robertson, we said it last week that I think Trent's moving more in the ascendancy again. I felt that again. I felt Robbo was off it. Like I didn't think he was very good, basically. And therefore, if he's not right on it, I could see the Milners getting a little game out of left wing back, at Simicast is back type things. But Trent was, he was all things to all men yesterday. He was shooting, he was crossing, he was involved, and he was much, much higher and much more inside. He was one of the first pressers on a lot of the attacks.
It didn't surprise me the way we set up with Doherty at left back. Obviously it allowed him to, exploit that a bit. And Doherty's obviously not a standard left back or left wing back, so it was kind of makeshift with the Region news. I don't know whether that maybe just made him look better than he might look in future fixtures. I mean, look, who's playing left side for Brighton at the moment? Because West Ham is obviously.
Well, they could play Big Dan Burn at left wing back, they could play or they play Solly March. It's not good though.
No, neither of those two are going to be anything, because if all the crosses are coming in from the right hand side, Dan Burn's basically redundant as far as I'm concerned. So with what did I say? We've got Brighton. They got Brighton after that, right? So
yeah, they got West Ham this weekend.
So Cresswell's going to be quite advanced, I'd imagine. So there could be space behind.
He's not quick though, Cresswell, is he? He's good delivery, but and you don't think of him great defensive qualities. Like they'll go at Cresswell. So yeah, he could easily have a field day, and I'm in a position where it's I want all these midfielders, but I've got Soucek. So if I want Gundogan or want to take a punt on a Leicester boy or maybe even James. My thing on James, I do like it, but he played 85 minutes on Wednesday night, and they're the first game Saturday morning. I'd be amazed if he makes more than 65 minutes. It is, no matter what happens, and that also sways me a bit on the DCL movement as well. Is that he's relatively new in that to coming back and fitness, and is he really, really going to be on it? So that was, but yeah, I've got the money. Maybe if I went, say Werner to DCL to go someone like Kufau to Trent and Soucek to Gundogan and do a -8. But I want Cancelo. Like genuinely, Cancelo's the might be the best asset in the game. If you were doing a draft, I'd probably have him number one right now.
Yeah.
I would. And then I'm like, I've got Stones Diaz, so maybe the other option I could do is I could easily just bring Cancelo in, go trip. I could go absolutely balls deep on this and go Cancelo in and captain Cancelo, and effectively I've got 4 City defenders then. But
for one game at least, for the Sheffield United game.
But Walker, would I want Cancelo for Sheffield United as opposed to against Burnley and Liverpool the 2 games after? Walker's not going to play no minutes, and then it's does Cancelo shift back to left back? Does he get anything? What you got to remember is what just happened in the game the other night, where he takes game's 3-0, takes Gundogan and Foden straight off after 50 odd minutes. That's a worry. That sort of thing could easily happen. Is they could be 3-0 up. Cancelo has not had a goal involvement and then still comes off after 55 minutes or something tomorrow, and you end up with a 1-pointer. Yeah. It's a dangerous captain, I think, the Sheffield United one. You've done it. Yeah, and that's also that bit of you're sort of following what just happened. We saw these things, but I actually think that Cancelo was almost unlucky to get the return he did. He could easily have got well over 20.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, at the same time, he was a bit lucky because of the offside, and that as well. I mean, you could argue both ways, I guess, and people will be arguing both ways all over the timelines and stuff like that. I'd imagine.
Well, so if you've got him or you're not got him in it, that's how your argument goes.
Yeah, basically. Well, that's it. I mean, everyone sat without those that sat without Stones that had Cancelo have been mightily rewarded for their patience. Put it that way.
Oh, I feel
due.
Absolutely due.
Definitely. Right. Well, we've got a couple of questions on Twitter, which is good. So we'll sort the chat out next time we do something like this. So we've had a question saying that we've got one transfer, right? So one transfer has been done, which was Lowton to Cancelo already. From there, obviously we can't see the rest of his team, but would you go Wilson to DCL and then Soucek to Barnes as a -8?
Yeah. I would, because that's similar. What we're looking at is I think that DCL is a great pick this week.
I think over the next 2 games, you've picked 3 teams with excellent fixtures. Obviously, City have got Sheffield United and Burnley. Everton have got Newcastle and Leeds. I mean, you couldn't pick 2 better fixtures if you wanted to be honest. And then and Leicester have got Leeds this week and then Fulham. So, Leicester at the moment Leicester's a team, and I spoke about this before the double and before the blank, and I said Leicester's fixtures coming out of the double were really, really good. And obviously Everton getting Digne back slightly solidified their defence a bit. They obviously conceded, but we looked at the XG of Leicester, and Everton kept them to a lot of shots from outside the box. Now, that's good for Everton's defence. I think DCL now, with all his friends back, will improve. And
it's like the band getting back together, isn't it? We've got those romantic times. Is funny enough is like my first hit of the season was sounds horrendous management this. So the week after I wildcarded, I then did a hit straight away to bring in DCL and Hammers, but they then come straight in and they got like 27 points or something in that game week. Is that is it? Like, I see a lot of people thinking I'm going to hit in DCL, and I'm almost like, if you're going to hit him in, why not get Dina? Why not get James? Like, why not? I saw someone earlier doing a -8 on all of them and taking the trio in. I mean, it's ballsy. If you do a -8 on them and then it ends up a shit show. Because my mistake, like it's a bit like that Sheffield United thing. Is we've sort of talked about it a few times recently. Like it was going to happen at some point. They, teams don't just go through a whole season of not winning. It's going to happen at some point. Same thing. Like Steve Bruce is annoying. Like there's a reason why he still keeps getting a job. Is at some point he'll grind something out. Everton's like whole XG against Leicester was 0.6. Like taking a team's XG of less than 1 and all going in on it, it's a bit weird, really. When you think of, Michael Antonio's XG was like 1.7 or something the other night. Yeah. It's funny how things go so quickly. Is that nobody would even be talking about DCL if Antonio had put one of those chances away. Everyone would just be like, just get Antonio, just get him in. He's also got a great record against Liverpool. So but we're all trying to get the brand new shiny toy. A lot of people would not be doing what they're doing if Kane wasn't injured. And it's also that we just don't like the strikers, do they?
The strikers are rubbish. The strikers all over rubbish. I mean, you've got
we're hoping that Ings is okay and he's not, And
so your top 4 strikers are what primarily? It's Kane, Vardy, both injured. Martial, rubbish, and who was the other one I just thought of? Werner, obviously.
Werner, rubbish, but then Jesus and Aguero, what's the point?
Exactly. Lacazette, we're not
Firmino.
Touching, so.
Like Firmino, like
he doesn't score again unless it's against Tottenham.
Do you know what's bad is? Game week 22 last season, I brought in Firmino, and I'm like, it's looming.
No, just don't do it. Don't do it.
It's looming.
So our answer to that question was yes. Basically, Wilson to DCL, Soucek to Barnes for a -8. I think we would both do that. In fairness, if you've already gone Lowton to Cancelo and you've got all the money to do that, then yeah, I think that's a good move. I like it. So Garth has said, he bought in Sterling, didn't have enough to save his game week, came to DCL for him. We spoke about Trent and how he was the pick of the Liverpool defenders. His run till the end of the season is ridiculous. He'll be coming in eventually for me. So he's not looking at him yet. I think game week 25, game week 26, I guess, is when Garth will start to look at that. Because if you look from game week 25 with the Everton game, and then if you trust the FDRs on FPL, then from game week 26 they've got basically Chelsea at home and United away as their 2 difficult fixtures, and then that's it. So I think at that point triple Liverpool is going to be required. I think they're going to be all guns blazing for City, who I think will be running the show by then. So
it's very easy to start eating your money up as soon as you go there. It's very easy, isn't it? Because they are expensive. You're paying for the premium, but I think most of us have got the money to do it.
Or the players already.
All the players already. If you got them, you've already got triple Liverpool. Head of the times, mate. Head of the times.
Yeah. So, and then another question that just came in was Rowan asked, "What do you reckon happens at Spurs now?" So, I think Bale goes up top, or is it Son as the only striker?
I mean, what kind of team that's losing a game and has their striker go off doesn't bring a striker on? Like,
literally, City are the only team that could do that in the league. There's no other team that has the quality.
They'd still play him as a striker. They'd play that player as a striker. It's just stupid. I don't see it. I don't see Bale coming into it, and I also think is certainly he's just not an option in FPL when you consider the likes of the Souceks at 5 million, the Maddison at Barnes at 7s, the James at 7s. Spending big money on Bale is. I don't care if he comes and plays this weekend and scores a hat trick. He's still not an option. You just can't trust it. You can't trust his fitness to be able to play in these short periods. I think Son definitely goes up there. Whether he goes up there with Vinicius, I actually think. So the one thing I think you can see from Vinicius when he plays the Europa games, his hold up play is first class. Like really, really first class. Is the way he uses his body, the way he shields. That's a good thing for Son. That he will then get around him. But
I'm wondering whether Jose wrote off last night when Harry came off and said, you know what, we need Vinicius. We're going to need him to be fit for the next 2-3 weeks, which is going to be 5 or 6 games. So he's probably, hopefully, this is what I'm kind of hoping in my mind, that he's just, he's taken him aside in training today and said, look, you're going to be the man now. You're going to be the guy up top. I need you to do X, Y, Z. It's going to be your show. So up there. So, show me what you can do, essentially. And I'm hoping, I'm not expecting loads, to be honest, but I'm hoping he does that. Alternatively, he'll just go Son in the middle, Lucas one side, Bergwijn on the other side. And I think
he's a
that's
50 million quid striker. Just play him.
Play him. And it suits the way we play football as well. It suits the way we're playing football at the moment as well. So, it's direct. He can bring players in with his hold-up play. If he has Son or Bale, maybe, or Bergwijn or Mora, whoever running off him, that's a much better option. So I think we're not overly confident about Tottenham for the next few weeks. We were pretty happy with the fixtures after Liverpool until Kane got injured.
So,
which is a bit of a shame.
Shall we have a look at this week?
Yeah, let's have a quick look at this week. I've only got like 10 minutes, so if we can cover those quickly, then that would be great.
No problem. This is the thing about, I think there's going to be a lot of DCL captains this week, and it's going to be
first
game. And there is that thing is as I said, they played last game on Wednesday. So 8:00 game Wednesday into first game Saturday. It is a short turnaround when you've had a lot of players that are just sort of getting back into fitness.
I think Everton will win the game. I just don't think it will be. I think if you're looking to get a haul out of anyone, I don't think it's going to come from this game. I really think there's probably better options later on, sort of midway through Sunday, in my opinion. It's probably a better place to find a haul. Anyway,
that Fulham game was an early game, wasn't it? That Fulham game where he came and scored like 2 goals in the first 10 minutes. DCL though, that was a half 12er. So you never know. He might like those early starts, but
So I'd go something like 2-0 to Everton, to be honest.
Yeah,
I'd be quite happy with that. Palace Wolves. Zaha. Just. I know we're just talking about this week, but Palace, and for me on a 4-week plan, I'm looking at Wolves at home, Newcastle away, Leeds away, Burnley at home. Like, why am I not bringing in Zaha for those 4 games? There's just so many.
There's so many midfielders. Is like we're not even talking about binning off Salah. Hasn't scored since before Christmas.
Yeah, ridiculous.
We're now like 5 game weeks, including a double. It's bad, but no chance we're moving on him. Luxury move would be go Mane at the moment because he looks much more dangerous. His big return and could have been a much bigger return against Tottenham. There's a couple of bad misses there.
City, Sheffield United.
Genuinely though,
go on then.
Like my mind just says 3-0 cruise it, but it still wouldn't surprise me if it was 5-0 cruise it, because Sheffield United get a bit of confidence and they open themselves up and they get absolutely hammered. Also, then does it at some point happen? Do they just take it and run with it again? And
no, I can't. I guess there's nothing. I just can't see Sheffield United getting anything from it. I think it will be tighter than City West Brom. I think that's almost for certain. I think a couple of goals will be the difference. 2-0, 3-1. Hoping not 3-1 with so many defenders we've got, but 2-0. Yeah, I'd probably lean towards 2-0. I don't think we predicted the Palace game, but Wolves look shocking defensively at the moment. So
yeah.
West Brom Fulham's a bit of a non-game, isn't it?
It's
I've got Lookman.
Well, you've got Lookman. We've also both got Johnston, haven't we?
Johnston.
And that's a question mark on this one is for any of you guys and me and you that have got Johnston sitting on our bench most weeks, do you bring him out to play for this? Because Brighton should have hammered Fulham the other night. They were bad. And it ends up 0-0. You know, Areola gets the bonus. But you start to think, I don't think that it's a great fixture for Martinez away to Southampton. But I don't think West Brom's a good fixture for anyone. You know, you just can't trust. They're conceding so many goals.
Yeah,
tough decision, that one.
I don't know. Is Ings fit?
Yeah, Ings will play.
He's fit, right? So Southampton at home. They score at home. They always score at home.
Scored in every game.
Yeah, exactly. So you're really banking on save points. I might punt with Johnston actually on that. To be fair, it would mean that
if you do, I will. If you do, I will. We'll make a gentleman. We'll make a gentleman. Let's do it. Let's enjoy the Johnston.
No FPL family rubbish here. Let's go full Johnston deal. Done.
Handshake. Can see it on YouTube. There you go.
Social distance handshake. Oh, we look like a proper bunch of wankers there, don't we? Arsenal United.
Arsenal will win that.
You think?
Yeah.
It's Saka.
2-1.
Saka, Lacazette.
They're the ones at the moment.
Yeah. Saka, Laka.
It's been a while since a Bruno show away from home, isn't it? It's been a while. A month ago, we'd have all been on Captain Bruno away from home. Arsenal, in the mud, but doesn't feel that way anymore.
Game week 15, yeah. Game week 15 was his last return, his last decent return away from home. He's had 3 games since then. Burnley, Liverpool, and Fulham with nothing. Hasn't actually returned in 4 games. So last time getting a goal against Villa. So
we've got all this money. We've got all this money around, and the actual premiums that are playing are shit in the bed.
That's what I said earlier. It's just a nightmare. It's almost unprecedented. It's almost unprecedented for it to be like this. It's just bizarre.
Well, the captaincy this week is so fun. Like, you find me a person who's captaining in a player that's priced above 8 million this week. I haven't seen anybody with Salah or Bruno as their captain this week.
No.
And that's mad. Like, we're actually going into it where everyone's going to go differential captain. So it's going to be a very, very interesting week, I think, in that way. And it's going
to be a week not to hit, actually, as well, in that sense.
It also says to me that, like, premium players are premium for a reason. They are, because they're good and they're historically good and they always get the points in. Like, everyone's going away. You're never, ever going to have such a good time than you would if you went Bruno or Salah captain this week, because they're going to be under 100% owned for the first time in a very, very long time on it. Maybe one of them two will haul this weekend, I reckon.
Southampton Villa?
No idea, actually, because
it's bizarre, isn't it? I've got Adams, and that's fine. He's going to sit on my bench, but are people going to go from? The thing is, people are going to be looking at Kane, and they're going to be going Kane to Ings possibly, but all those people are going to be sitting with Martinez in goal. So it's just really a horrible decision to have to make.
Yeah.
It's actually one of those times where I'm glad I came back to a second keeper to give us that decision to have. So Yeah, I'm really not sure on that game. I think it's going to be tight. I think score draw. I think would be a 1-1 basically is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I've got obviously my double Villa attack. I'm going to play Soucek if he's still in my team. Depends if I go to Gundogan. But whoever that is going to play, which means I've got to bench one of Watkins or Bamford this week. Now, if I think back to what I'd said, which was don't double up on Villa attack when it's a bad game, and certainly don't, that they're much better team at home. I should play Bamford, but blimey, it's going to be difficult to play him away to Leicester when they're playing so badly as what they're seeing. And it's just not all about him suddenly. Rafinha is definitely the lead man in that attack. Yeah, that's a close decision for me on which one to play. But I do think that Watkins is a confidence player, and he scored in the last 2 games, and that says to me, I'm probably going to get sucked in again and go Grealish and Watkins.
So difficult, isn't it? So then on to Sunday. 4 fixtures on Sunday. Chelsea, Burnley. No. Well, we still don't know what Tuchel's teams are going to look like, really, do we? So how they're really going to play.
Before knowing that Werner wasn't going to be in, then I would have fancied this was a good matchup for me with having Werner in the team. I can't help but think that I end up taking a hit going Werner to DCL. DCL blanks early, and then I'm like sweating on is Werner going to play, and then he plays, and it's like, oh god. But you just can't trust Chelsea at the moment. It's going to take time. You know, he didn't pick that team the other night. I don't think anyone should massively read into it. He basically picked the players that have been rested a couple of days before, and just went back to what they were and just stuck a few extra ones in or changed the shape a little bit. That's not how it's going to work out. I don't think anyone should take gospel of it. But it almost suggests to me, well, it might take a little bit of time here to get the right ones. They didn't seem bothered about a 0-0 at home to Wolves the other night, considering their position. I thought that was quite odd.
It was weird. The official account posted a video of 18 passes and made it out to be some kind of celebration of here's 18 of our 800 passes that we made. You drew 0-0 to Wolves. Just shut the fuck up and let people be pissed off for a few days.
Really odd. Yeah, really odd.
It was bizarre.
You'd have thought.
Yeah. They made a big deal out of it because it was the most passes that any new manager had made in his first game, or some weird one of those stats that people make up just so it sounds like a stat. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm not interested in that game whatsoever, really. Leicester Leeds.
That's a big one.
It is, isn't it?
That's a big one.
I think Leicester could run riot in this game.
They could,
even without Vardy. I think they could run riot, and I think if I go to Maddison or even to Barnes, I think I'd probably be more inclined to captain Barnes than Maddison.
Yeah.
Personally.
I agree on that one. I think Barnes is one where we spoke it off here that he's a weapon. You know, is some of our mates, our actual personal mates, laughed at me when I compared him to Bale at the start, type things. But there is that part of him that he wants to attack, he wants to get in. I think to you that he only attempted 18 passes in the entire game the other night, but he had 5 key passes. You know, that means that he's basically he either releases the ball in a good area or he shoots. And I think his pass rate was like about 70% completion. So that effectively means that one out of every 2 passes he had was a key pass. You know, he's just looking to do stuff in the final third. They're the kind of players I like, you know.
Yeah.
But, you know, Maddison had 8 crosses. And it's unfortunate it's going to no one. So they were all unsuccessful. He had 5 attempts, all pot shots outside the box.
We got nothing really from the press conference as to whether Iheanacho is going to come in. Perez is obviously not someone that you're going to cross the ball into.
No.
It's got a kind of like a City feel about it in that sort of quick build up and tippy tappy around the box, and as you say, pot shots. It's not. I mean, not that you cross too many in for Vardy either, but with Iheanacho, I think you'd find there'd be more using him as a target, bigger player. So I think it's going to be difficult. We've got 11 o'clock deadline tomorrow. I have to think about that, whether it's Barnes or Maddison. For me, I think it's one of the two.
Yeah, I'm not going to enjoy that game. I don't think if I've got, especially if I bench Bamford, and then it's like, oh well, I want Bamford to score because I've got no Leicester. Do you know what I mean? It's going to be a weird one, that one for me, I think.
West Ham, Liverpool. Soucek.
It's hard to think he won't do okay, because
how are they going to set up in the middle? Henderson and Phillips?
Probably? Yeah, it looks that way.
I mean, he's not small, so he's not small. So that's going to be that. Other than that,
It's a tough one, mate.
It's difficult. Antonio's looking good. Cresswell's good, direct. Bowen assist last game, and Soucek's obviously hungry at the moment. What was that stat he told me about?
They won't sit back. They won't sit back like we did.
What was that stat he told me about Soucek, Bruno, or something like that?
Yeah, since he scored his first goal in game week 8, only Bruno has scored more goals than Soucek.
In the league?
In the league. No. Like, can't bench that guy.
Madness. And then last game on Sunday, Tottenham-Brighton. What are you thinking? Avoid it?
Avoid it. Yeah. You're in a thing here where if you've got... normally, so Son is one of the best assets in the entire game, one of the best players in the league, and then the striker has got injured, and then he is going to be the main focal point of attack. Like any other time, he would be the most transferred in player of all time, is with a good fixture run, with doubles to come, all of those things, it should be there. I bet you no one is bothering to transfer him in. A lot of people obviously have already got him, and I think if you've got him, then you're there. But no one's thinking, well, I'm going to captain Son now. Like, he's not going to be a big captain owner. It's a wait and see on what happens with that one. It's definitely a wait and see. But, I just look at 80,000 people have brought him in, 50,000 out, Son. So he's maintaining. But his next 3 are away to Brighton, home to Chelsea, home to West Brom. Like, he could be home to West Brom with no Kane. And he'll take penalties. If we get a penalty, he'll take a penalty.
I've still got nightmares of Son against West Brom. So
you have. You've already been that pain.
Bloody triple captain.
Yeah.
Triple captain. So,
but who knows how that goes? Just wait and see. Wait and see on that one. It wouldn't surprise me if it's a 1 or 2-1. Which way? Don't know right now. Yeah. So that's it. So we might both be taking hits.
We're both definitely going Johnson in goal.
We're going Johnson in goal. No idea on captain.
No
idea.
I'm leaning towards Barnes, Maddison. Thing is with Barnes, Maddison, if I go with Barnes or Maddison, actually I don't bring in Gundogan. So
I think both of us will transfer in our captain. I think that's the thing, is what I'm looking at is probably he's not in my squad at the moment. It could be DCL, could do that. It could be Gundogan if I bring Gundogan in. It could be Cancelo if I bring Cancelo in. I like the idea of Gundogan knowing that he's going to play. Yeah.
I like the idea in my rank still. I mean, my rank's not bad. It's 500k. It's fine. It's good. But I still like the idea of going away from the curve slightly. And I think a lot of people will make that Gundogan move. So
have you? I don't know that I've ever captained a midfielder or attacker priced under 6 million? Don't think I've ever done it.
No, I can't think of a time where I would have done it. I think the cheapest maybe I would have done. I think I captained Madison last year once, which didn't work. So,
to be fair, I don't think I've ever captained the defender. You've done that, so I don't.
Like 2 weeks in a row now.
Yeah, I don't think. I think if I did Gundogan or Cancelo, and I probably am leaning more that way than doing DCL, I think that would be the lowest priced captain I've ever captained.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Right, we'll leave it there.
Well, you've done it and smashed it with Cancelo last week. Well done, sir.
I'll take it. I needed a win. I needed to catch certain people in mini leagues as well. So I've got my eyes set on those. Well, I think I'm going to need the whole season. I think I'm going to need the whole season to catch both of them. You know you are. So not you, Sparky. Not catching you. So I'm going to need the whole rest of the season to do it, if I do it. So we'll see. I'll do my best. We good?
Right. Yeah.
Well, then I will see you on the weekend. I'll sign out. Let me sign out for the podcast as well. So, first of all, guys, if you're watching, thanks. Sorry about the chat. We'll get that sorted for next time. I think it has something to do with the way that Zoom integrates with YouTube. If that's the case, then we'll change it up and put it on OBS and do it properly next time, so that then we can have a bit of chat in there, which would be good to have, to be honest. So we appreciate the questions. We've actually had more questions than we normally get when we record a podcast, so that's nice. But the podcast account, I run that, but Baker reviews that as well. It is at Above Average FPL on Twitter. Baker is at Baker FPL 343. Interact with us, have a chat. Let us know what you're thinking for this game week. Let us know what you're thinking with, game week 26 coming up. Do you still have your bench boost? Game week 29 could be as low as 2 fixtures. Are you thinking about your free hit still? Some people still with triple captain when you're wildcarding. All that sort of stuff. Be happy to chat through with you guys on Twitter on that. And apart from that, I guess it's good luck for game week. What are we, 21?
21, mate. Let's go.
Let's go, mate. Have a good game week, and I will speak to you later.